Good morning, everyone. It's August 13th, summer break. Very much appreciate everyone for joining us. We'll get started in about a minute. If anybody has any questions, feel free to put in the chat. For the next hour, we're going to go over Google AI tools, specifically getting started with Google AI in K12 education. A lot of exciting updates. We'll give it another minute and then we'll begin. Thanks everybody for joining us. Feel free to add in the chat where you're from in terms of what school you're representing, what borough you're representing, perhaps what subject you teach. I would love for this to be as interactive as possible. Feel free. Who's going to be the first one to get it started? What school are you representing? What borough? And then we'll get started. Thank you, Rebecca. Kicking us off. Thank you. Susan, your name is so familiar. I feel like I've seen you in other sessions before.
Yeah, I've seen you many times over the years.
Thank you for joining us, for your support. Jacqueline, thank you. Queen's here. Queens, Brooklyn, thank you.
Back in the day when JoJo used to work for the DOE.
Back in the day when we were exploring this thing called Google Docs, right?
Yes.
On that note, we're going to get started. Everyone, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this summer day. I appreciate everyone taking time to join us. So this is our summer version of the NYC Public Schools Partner Certification Program. Today, we'll be focusing on getting started with Google AI in K12 education. We have a lot going on. I would love for this to be as interactive as possible. So if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. Feel free to put in the chat. This will be recorded. We're going to send it to you. All of the resources, everything that we're going to be going over, we're going to be emailing it to you all. We're using Google Meet. This is automatically taking attendance. So we will share everything with you all. The recording, the transcript, etc. You will get CTLE credits. I'll share all that information. All right. Thank you, everybody, for sharing what school and borough you're representing in the chat. Feel free to continue that. And feel free to continue interacting with us via this chat. So let's get started. So the folks that are leading this, the folks that put this presentation together, myself, Santi Karasamy, but also Danita Morgan, who is our Google for Education partner, who's been supporting New York City Public Schools for quite some time now, very long time. So we've been working together to put together this presentation for everybody. She's not able to join us today. She might jump in later, but myself, Santi Karasamy, I'm the founder of a company called Project Recess. If anybody's ever heard of it, if anybody's ever attended our sessions, such as Susan back in the day, referencing HRTC, if anybody's been in that RIP to that PD space up in Harlem or down in Harlem, depending on where you are. But Project Recess, that's the name of our company. We've been around for over 10 years, supporting New York City Public Schools, leverage ed tech tools, specifically Google solutions for teaching and learning. All right, so if you're interested in partnering with us, feel free to reach out. I'll share my information. All right, let's think about this. I want you to think about a work task that takes up way too much of your time, right? And if you've been to our sessions before, if you've answered this question, indulge me, all right? Think about what you do, what takes up a long time. Jack, thank you so much, Jacqueline, for kicking us off here. So we have lesson planning, grading, all right? Lesson planning, grading, making lesson slides. I'm seeing a theme here, giving feedback to writing pieces, slides. We got something for you, Eric. Creating rubrics, Stephanie, thank you for sharing that. Alexandra, feedback. You know, we've been running these sessions for quite some time now, you know, ever since generative AI hit the stage 2 years ago. Has it only been that recent? And many teachers are sharing the same things. Feel free to keep putting it in the chat. Thank you, Olga, thank you. Writing feedback. We're hearing a lot of things, grading, feedback, you know, rubrics, creating these things takes up a lot of your time. We are now living in a very exciting time where these tools can help us, you know, speed up this process. Not only speed up this process, I don't want to just focus on the speed, but also like making our existing resources, making new resources better and more engaging. You know, that's what a teacher told me in one of our sessions, and that really resonated with me. I feel like yes, during this session, we're going to talk about how quickly you can make things, but I would also love to encourage people to think about how these tools not only can make your work more efficient and quicker, but how to make your work better and more engaging. All right, writing feedback. All right, let's continue. Thank you everybody for sharing. Let's keep it up. Vibe check. How familiar is everyone here with Gemini, with Google Gemini, their AI tool? Olga, 5, I love that. All right, so 1, not familiar, maybe you're hearing it for the first time. 5, you're a power user. No wrong answer for this one. All right, so I'm seeing some 1s, seeing some 2s, seeing some 4s. Alana, thank you. 5, fantastic. For those that are rating yourselves, a 5 or a 4, again, would love to hear how you're using it. That's going to be one of the slides, but this is great. We're here to learn from each other. I do want to emphasize generative AI. Nobody's an expert. This is all so new. It's all changing by the week, it seems, and we're all learning together. So that's very exciting. Thank you so much. You went to the other workshop. Thank you so much. All right, so hopefully, if you're a 5, maybe we'll bump you up to a 6. Hopefully, we'll increase everybody's skill level. And again, we're here to learn from each other. So this is our agenda, our aspirational agenda. We're going to do our best to go through all these things. We're going to focus on the Gemini app and the things that are included, such as Canvas, GEMS, deep research. We're going to talk about my favorite AI tool right now, one of my favorites, Notebook LM. We'll touch a little bit on Google Vids and all these things that are available to you for free and that are IRMA approved, meaning these tools are safe to use within Department of Education. And we're going to be coming back to that thought a lot because that's super important. All right. We have a parking lot here. I think there are some questions from the last one, but I'll throw this in the chat in case anybody has any questions. And I actually think it would be beneficial to see the questions from the last session just to get an idea of what people are thinking of. All right, so let me get this link. I'm gonna throw it in the chat right now. So this is our parking lot doc, and I'm gonna pin it in the chat here. So I just sent that in the chat. I'm gonna pin it, meaning it should be there. If you have questions that you want us to look into that we might not get to during this session, feel free to put in the chat. Again, there are questions in here from the last session last week, so this will give you all a good idea of what people are interested in. All right, so I should be sharing that. So this is our parking lot document. Feel free to give it a look. Our information's on here. Our resources are on here. Some questions that people had. Feel free to add more questions. Okay. Feel free to revisit this document. So I'm going back to my presentation. Let's continue. So the whole idea behind these partner certification sessions this summer, this fall, this spring is that different tech partners will offer sessions for New York City teachers and offer you a certification in something. So Google, one of the leaders in AI right now, if not the leader, created this brand new certification specifically for K12 educators. I'll also put this link in the chat. I'm going to email everybody this, so if you just want to focus on the presentation, feel free. Yeah, I'll send this to everybody. But this brand new certification, it's not even a year old, I don't think. But the whole purpose of this is to give educators a better idea of how to use Google tools specifically and leverage those AI features to support your teaching and learning. This certification is free. It takes about, I think, like less than an hour to complete. So I highly encourage everybody to take this certification course. You'll get a badge at the end. You'll get a really nice certification that you can put in your email signature, LinkedIn profile, etc. Get started with Google AI and K12. Let me see if I can pull it up. And then we'll go over some exciting things here. So I will throw this in the chat as well. So this is the link to the course. So I just put that in the chat. I'll share this screen. So I'm signed in with my I believe I'm signing with my @schools account. I have a training account, so what I see is what everybody can see. So get started with Google AI and K12 education. Let me just take one step back. So it says, by the end of the course, you'll be able to explain the benefits of Gemini, K12 setting, describe practical ways that Gemini can help save time, and use Gemini to assist with your professional tasks. All right, so there's a pre-survey. If I click on get started, you'll do the survey, and then you have different questions related to AI. Okay, so this is a wonderful way to get started with a structured course. Again, it's free. It's going to go over the basics of AI, generative AI. There's some scenarios in there, talks about all the benefits of using Gemini. Again, very like a very well-built course over here. All right, so I'm going to go back to my presentation, and I really want to spend this time just going over the actual features that will be highlighted in the course that you can start using today. All right, so a brief overview of Google AI tools in education. Danita usually leads this. I'm going to do my best, but really the main thing that I want to focus on before I get to that is this interactive game. So if you know the answers to this, again, feel free to guess. But the question here is, how many years did it take to get to 50 million users for each of these different industries' inventions? All right, so let's be interactive with this. Let's throw some guesses in the chat. So let's start with airplanes. From the Wright brothers to getting peanuts on a plane, to banning peanuts on the plane, to getting charged for wearing shoes on Spirit Airlines, how long did it take to reach 50 million users? Let's throw some guesses in there. Did it take 20 years, 30 years? So from the invention of the airplane to where we are now, how long did it take to reach 50 million users? So we got 30 years, 22 years, 7 years, 35 years. All right, really great guesses. 40 years, 40, 40, 40. Nice. I love these guesses. Let's see what we got here. 68 years. It's a long time. And like, also keep in mind, if the plane was just invented and someone were to say, hey, get in this metal tube as it, is 30,000 feet in the air, yeah, I'd be apprehensive also. 68 years to reach 50 million users. The internet. Now let's move on to this one. How long do we all think it took for the internet to get 50 million users? So I'm guessing 15 years. I'm seeing 20, 10. Okay. So from its invention, I think it was invented as a military tool. Then we had AOL dial-up, which, fun fact, I heard recently that AOL decided to end their dial-up service. Good for them for keeping it going. All right. 7 years. 7 years. Okay. So 7 years it took for the invention of the internet to reach 50 million users. Facebook. Who remembers getting a Facebook account back in 2005, 2006, when it was the Facebook, when it was just college students? 4 years. How long did it take to reach 50 million users? Facebook. 5 years, 3 years, 2 years. Let's see how quickly Facebook rose to 50 million users. 3 years. Alana, nice guess. Alexandra, nice guess. 3 years. All right, last one, generative AI. So not just Google Gemini, but also ChatGPT, which I'm sure you've heard of. Other generative AI tools. Keep in mind, these Gen AI tools came out like 2 years ago. How long did it take to get 50 million users? 5 weeks. 5 weeks. All right, somebody got 5 weeks on there. Crazy stuff. Okay, so like that's incredible. 50 million, huge number. Generative AI tools, 5 weeks. 50 million users in 5 weeks. That's incredible. Why did it reach 50 million users so fast? Personally, I think the application, the use cases of these tools are evident. It's so easy to leverage these tools, not even in education, but it doesn't matter what your industry is: business, marketing, finance, healthcare, whatever. These tools can really help you, again, not only do things quicker, but can make your content, your workflow better and more engaging. All right, that being said, there's a lot of AI tools out there. I'm sure many people here are using things like ChatGPT. Maybe you've used DeepSeek, Grok, what have you. The thing about those tools is that the way that their AI models get trained, meaning how they get better, is that they're trained on the information that you put in there. All right, so let's keep that in mind. If you're using something like the free version of ChatGPT, whatever you put in your chats, that company, OpenAI, is saving your chats. So if you're uploading documents or putting in text that has student information, your information, that information is being saved by the company. Okay, and that can be said for most of these tech companies. Why we love to recommend to teachers to use Gemini in their workflow is that it went through this very rigorous security process. It's called the IRMA approval process. I don't know if folks have heard of it, but in order for a tool to be approved safe by New York City schools, it needs to go through this IRMA approval process. Gemini just did that. All right, Gemini and Copilot is the other one. ChatGPT didn't complete that process yet. So in terms of data privacy, personally, I like using Gemini in a school setting because your data is safe. So whatever you feel comfortable emailing your colleagues about, emailing your principal, whatever information you feel comfortable with in your Outlook, in your Google Sheets, in your Google Drive, your DOE Google Drive, all of those things you can put into Google Gemini. And then you can, at this point, all these AI tools are more similar than they are different. All right, so these things can help you analyze data, help you draft lesson plans, help you craft an email, but it's all safe within your Gemini account. So if anything, to me, that's the #1 reason why you should be using Gemini within your DOE account, because it's safe. All right, so you have all these. If anybody has any questions, feel free to put in the chat. So Google has taken a very safe approach to introducing AI to its customers. We have some information here. There's a lot of learning science that's built into Gemini. It's not just going to give you the answers, but they're really rolling out new features. Again, it seems like every week to really help you learn instead of just giving you the answers. So ultimately, with these tools, imagine a world where there's a TA for every teacher, a tutor for every learner, an assistant for every ed leader. Essentially, that's what these tools are. These AI tools, such as Gemini, it's like a personal assistant that knows many things that can help you 24/7. All right, so that's pretty exciting. All right, let's make this interactive, and then we're going to jump into some features here. So share in the chat, please. How are you currently using or thinking about using Gen AI in your classroom or personal life? Particularly interested in hearing from the folks that rated themselves an expert or a 5 in using Gemini. How are you using Gen AI tools? How are you using AI tools right now? Long-term data now. Oh, I love that. I love that. What else? What other people? What else are other people doing? All right. Curriculum development. Nice. Lesson planning. Jacqueline, thank you. Magic School for writing rubrics, lesson planning, leveled readings. Susan, thank you. Differentiation. Jennifer, that's great. So your principals are encouraging Copilot. Wonderful. Copilot works too. Copilot is IRMA approved, and it is safe also. One of the benefits of using Gemini, we're all using Google Docs for the most part. Most of our documents are stored within our Google Drive. All of those things link seamlessly to Gemini. It's all part of the Google ecosystem. But you can use any tool you want. I recommend submitting the same prompt to both systems, see which one works better. So thank you, assisting and connecting, simplifying lesson plans. Thank you, Diana. Thank you. So these are some ideas. These are wonderful use cases in using Gen AI. So let's continue. All right. So again, today, our main focus is on Gemini, Google's AI tool. Big news. Gemini is available for every staff member in New York City Public Schools. This happened less than a year ago. This happened a few months ago. Again, it went through the IRMA approval process. So Gemini is safe to use within your DOE account. So when we reference Gemini, typically when people reference Gemini, they're talking about the Gemini app, which you can get to at gemini.google.com. So if you want to test out these features, these tools, if you want to do that, you feel free to open up a new tab. Make sure you're signed into your @schools account. All right. Nothing else. Make sure you're only signed into your @schools account. And then you would just go to gemini.google.com. If you're familiar with the waffle, those 9 dots at the top right that link you to different Google apps. There's also a Gemini link in there as well. So gemini.google.com, what does it look like? It looks like all of the other AI tools you use, right? So the learning curve is low. You can just get in and you already know what to do, right? You have this clean interface. You have a window where you enter a prompt, which is what you want the AI to do. And we're going to demonstrate what some of those things look like. Before we get into that, I just want to point out a few things, here. So this is just a close-up of what this larger screen looks like. Top left, you can choose the different AI model. I know this might be a little confusing, but for most of your work, 2.5 Flash is fine. I think it defaults to that. It works well in creating lesson plans, cleaning up your text with grammar, analyzing, student work, suggesting feedback, all of these things. 2.5 Flash works great. And then if you wanted to get a little bit more in depth with your responses, so if you wanted something that had a little bit, if you had a question that required a little bit more complex reasoning, or if you wanted to do some complex math or code something, or wanted a more detailed response, you can click that drop down and select 2.5 Pro. It's going to take a little bit longer to get your responses, a few seconds longer. And also there are limits to this. I think there's I need to get information on what those hard limits are, but there's a limit to how many times you can interact using Pro. And like you do get higher limits with 2.5 Flash. All right. So all this being said, like these tools are free and you get a lot. Like I believe the limit is high. Again, I need to get that that information. But if you're a power user, you're going back and forth doing all these things, you might get a message saying you hit your limit. The good news is that limit resets every day. So, 12 midnight, that limit resets. And then if you're a power user and you want to increase those limits and you want to have even more Gemini features in your Google Suite, there's an extended AI license that your school can purchase on FAMUS. And it's reasonable. I think it's like $136 for the year for one person. All right. So if you have like an AI team at your school consisting of a few people, and you're able to convince your leadership to purchase these AI licenses on FAMUS, then you'll have even more access to these AI tools. All right. And we'll send all this information out. So you can choose these different AI models. Your prompt window might look different down here, view 1, view 2. All right. All this is it's just how do you get to things like deep research and then Canvas? Maybe you have something that says tools. Maybe you have something that says just deep research in here. It's all the same. These interfaces are being improved all the time. So whether your view looks like 1 or 2, it looks the same. But you would see this at gemini.google.com. All right. So a glimpse of what AI can do. Create a rubric about the life cycle of the butterfly for 3rd grade. Let's do this live. I'm going to switch to so I'm in my Gemini account. Okay. Another thing I wanted to shout out. Top left, you have these 3 horizontal lines, also known as the hamburger. If you click on that, it opens up the side panel. And then you have all of your recent chats, and you have gems, which I'll get into. And then you have Storybook, which I'm seeing for the first time right now. I'm seeing this for the first time. Yeah, they're putting new stuff in here all the time, everybody. Okay, so just to demonstrate, like, if you've never used an AI tool before, these things are trained on every piece of writing on the internet. When you take a step back and think about that, that's mind-blowing. So when you ask it a question, it will take all that information and create something for you. So if I say, create a lesson plan focusing on the life cycle of the butterfly, for 3rd graders, create a lesson plan. Okay, so I'm going to purposely leave it vague. This is not the best prompt. Like it's very vague. So if I hit enter, what happens? You're going to send it in. It's going to process. It's going to do its thing. and then it creates it for you. So if you've never seen something like this before, then this in itself is pretty impressive. It's going to do its best to suggest the best lesson plan. So time allotment, it's making it 45 to 60 minutes. You got your learning objectives here. You got your materials. You got your procedure. You got your direct instruction, etc. Okay. But there's this term going around, prompt engineering. All of that is to say, like, what are the best ways to interact with these AI tools? And I have a slide on this, but like really, the more context, the better, right? And I don't want folks to get, like disheartened or even like turned off if like the response you get is not what you're looking for. You just got to go back and forth with it. It's a chat bot, so you have to chat with it. Okay, so let's say I do this. I've seen many teachers are like, oh, I don't like this lesson plan. I hate AI. I'm never going to use it. Well, you got to keep talking to it, right? So if you don't like it, you just tell it what you want. So maybe I want it to be 30 minutes. Make it 30 minutes instead. Okay. So I'm telling that in the chat. I'm going to hit enter. The AI is going to be like, oh, okay. Actually, you wanted 30 minutes. Sure. And so as you can see, like it updated it already. And what I love about this view where you can see your artifact on the right and then your chat on the left, it will highlight what changed. So as you can see, 30 minutes was changed. So maybe I'm working with, else. All right. So, update this, lesson plan to take into account that half of my class are L's who speak Spanish. All right. I'm curious to see what happens. All right. So again, I'm asking it to update it to take into account that half the class are L's. And it knew what L's was. All right. So here's the updated lesson plan to support English language learners. So again, I'm curious to see. It should highlight in here. Let's see. Okay. Incorporated a number of suggestions in the lesson plan to make it more supportive. New version includes specific strategies. All right. So you have to go here. Here we go. Vocabulary cards. It says worksheet. So it put in bold what it updated. Pictures of the 4 stages, have bilingual labels. Okay. And so you can go back and forth with this. Take it a step further, include the Spanish translation after the English text. All right. Include the Spanish translation after the English text in this lesson plan. And I'm going to leave my typos in there. So just giving you an idea of how to interact with this. If it's your first time using it, this is how you do it, right? You go back and forth. You as a teacher, you have the expertise. You know what you want your lesson plan to look like, so you can go back and forth like this. Okay. So as we can see, this is all in real time. You got your lesson plan. So it did it. It added all the Spanish translations after the English ones in there quickly. Can it include images? Yes, Eileen, it can include images. And there's different ways to do that. So this is just a lesson plan, so it's just text in there, but you could have this, let's see this, can you include images in this lesson plan? Let's see what, like, again, there's different ways to go about it. You can ask it to create specific images. Okay. Eileen, I'm glad that you asked that question. So what's happening now, I asked it to create images, and what it's doing, it's coding. It's creating computer code, and it's going to create something interactive. So really, as this is going, and this will be done shortly, this really changes the conversation of what it means to teach our students computer science. The codes confuse you. Yes, no, like I can understand that. Sometimes I wonder why it codes too if you don't ask it. So what happens is that when you're asking the AI to do something, it's trying to give you the best answer. And in this case, it created an HTML version of the lesson plan that incorporates an image. So you would take this HTML image and you could make a website with it. Okay. But let's say you get this. I can't see the images. Can you make it so I can see it in Canvas? Okay, so this area with the code, that's called Canvas. And so we'll see what it can do. Okay. So as it's building the code, we're living in an interesting time where you can build apps on the fly. So like not only can you create a lesson plan, but here, I'm going to show you all what you can do with this, with the code. Okay, so as it's building that, I'm just going to revisit this this lesson plan real quick. So if I scroll up on the left-hand side, I can go back to the lesson plan here. Okay, so all the things that this creates are in the lesson plan. And if I say create an interactive game using the vocab from this lesson. Okay, so I'm asking it to create an interactive lesson plan or an interactive game using the vocab from this lesson. So people have questions about the code. I'll show what you can do with it. So in addition to making a lesson plan, in addition to doing things like creating email, text, etc., it's going to code for you. It's going to take the vocabulary from that lesson plan, and we'll see what it does with this. So it's building the code. Give it a few minutes or a few seconds. Let's see this. Oh, this is interesting. Preview. If it does, I'm going to refresh this page. And then I'm going to say, I'm glad this happened. Sometimes the preview window doesn't show up. So let's ask it again. Whoops. Is not showing up. So sometimes this happens. If this preview window doesn't show up, tell it to the AI, and then we'll have it code again, and then we'll see if it shows up. So it's coding for us, and it should create this interactive. Let's see. Oh, this is good. It's not working. Let me try it again. Okay. Sometimes this doesn't work. Okay. Still not seeing it. So let's see. Yeah, it's not working. So if I'm going to do something with the code if it still doesn't work. Interesting. Okay. All right. So someone in the chat asked about the code. So it created this code. Let's see what we can do with it. There's a share and export button. If I click on that, I can copy the contents. So if I copy this code and I open up a new tab, we all have access to Google Sites as well. So if I create a new Google site, there's an option to embed code. So let's see what this looks like. I just pasted the code from that AI tool. Okay. So sometimes that happens, and I'm actually glad that it showed now. So this is what was supposed to have been created in the AI window, right? So it created this interactive game. So let's see, test 4. So if you ask the AI to create a game and it didn't work, you could copy the code and then put it into a Google site that you would share with your students. Or sometimes you just, so like here's the code, right? Is your interactive game, you would have to just choose which one. Whoops. So this is what it would look like. All right, I'm just going to go back here. And I'm going to show a different example. So this is what we did during a previous session. So this is the same idea. I asked it to create a lesson plan on state capitals, and then I asked it to create an interactive game. So it did it here. All right. So everything you see here was created using AI. So if you wanted to take your lesson plan and just create an interactive thing that you could share with your kids, this is one way to do it. So again, if you wanted to share this, you would click the share button, and under the code area, and you would copy the contents and put it in a Google site and share it out. All right, so this is an example of a game that was created using using Gemini. Does anybody have any questions so far? I want to see if I can get this going again. All right, I'll revisit this, but just keep in mind, you know what? I know this will work. Hold on a second. I'm gonna try it one more time. Does admin? No. Okay. I will get to the Google Slides question. Admin doesn't need to enable Gemini. All staff have it, but all students don't. Let me try this one more time, and then I'll move on to the next piece. Create. Actually, here, I'll just go straight to the game. So if you all click on, I'm going to click on tools, and then I want to select Canvas, right? These are the different options you can select. So I selected Canvas, and I'm going to say create an interactive game that explores the life cycle of the butterfly that is suitable for third graders. All right, so let's see this one more time. I want folks to see this in real time. So I selected Canvas, and what Canvas does, it breaks it into 2 windows. All right, so again, it's going to do its coding thing. It has the option on the left-hand side. This is a good sign. I see the code and in the preview. So perhaps in the process that I was doing, I had it create multiple lesson plans. I had it update the language, and then I asked it to include images and then the game. So maybe it got mixed up in that. But I just want to give this one. Okay, now it worked. Okay, so this is what it suggested with that very quick prompt. I'm going to click start, click the egg, click the big green leaf to lay an egg, drag the leaves to the caterpillar to feed it. That's interesting. I can't seem to drag these, but you can go back and forth to test out these games. But that's pretty impressive that it created this game right away. Okay. And so yeah, you can definitely ask it to create interactives related to your lesson plan. All right, but here's life cycle of the butterfly. How can you assess the game? Tell me more about that, Jillian. And then I will go under the other options on their tools here.
Okay, I'm Jillian.
Yes, hello.
So after I've given the game,
Yes.
how do I know? Did they get it right? Did they get it wrong? How can I see that end result?
I got that. No, thank you for so these are just more like practice games. At this point, you can't you could share this with your students through like a Google site, but you yourself wouldn't get the data on that. This is just creating just like a practice game for them. If you wanted to get information from the students on whether they got the question correct or not, you would, either send them a Google form as a quiz, and you can use AI to help you generate those questions. But this, so let's say I wanted to update it, update this game to be more of a flashcard style. Okay, so even if this game didn't work for you and we're going to update to be more of flashcard style, whatever you take with this and you give to your students, like only they would see the correct answers. And so first you want to make sure that the answers are indeed correct. So if you were to do this, I would test out the game yourself. So here, stage 1, egg, stage 2. All right, so these are the life cycle games here. I think I need to do this one more time to refresh it. So if you were to ask it to be, like a true or false or like matching game, you would need to go through and make sure the questions are correct. Then you would share it with your students. So again, if you share this game with your kids, you wouldn't see what they get, but this would just be practice for them. And how do you see what the answers are? If you go to the code area and you just scroll through, like there should be information here where it pulls like the answers, right? So right here, title, stage 1, egg. And if it's a vocab quiz, let me see. Let me update this to be a vocab game quiz. So you would see the answers in there. All right, so again, it's going to do its code thing, and then you would just double check the answers. Okay. So I'm just curious to see what this preview, and then after this, I'm going to jump right into what the other features are. Okay, so here's your quiz. Butterfly starts as a tiny sphere, egg. All right, so it gives you the correct answer here. So again, like this is more of the students building their own knowledge on their own here. All right, to tell you what's correct and what's wrong. So you would make sure the answers are correct. You could copy the code, again, share, copy contents, and then put it in a Google site. All right. Any other questions on that? All right. So I just want to talk about what these other tools are. Jennifer, thank you for that segue. So again, Canvas, if you click on Canvas, you'll get that 2-screen window. So if I click on that, so again, what I like about that is I like seeing what the AI output is and then still having my chat. So even if I were to say, help me generate an email to parents explaining our field trip this Friday to the AMNH. All right, so since Canvas is selected, it's going to open it up like this. And if I didn't select Canvas and I just copy this and I made a new chat, so I'm not going to select Canvas and I have the same prompt, I'm going to leave the prompt. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll do it on its own. Okay, so you have this, you're like basic text message view. So I have my prompt and then I have the response here. I'm going to go back to the previous chat where I had Canvas created or selected. I like Canvas because it's easier for me to see the output. And then if I, again, since this is linked with your DOE Google account, if I click share and export, I can export this to Google Docs seamlessly. So I can click on this button. It's going to open up a new tab. And then all of that text is in my Google Docs. And I can go ahead and share it with like other colleagues to help me clean this up or clean it up myself. It all works seamlessly. When you do that, keep in mind, the name of the document is the name of the last prompt you gave it. So you might want to, rename that, but just keep that in mind. That's the prompt. Yes. There will be. We have offered PDs in the past on how ed leaders can use this. Feel free to reach out. My email is in the parking lot document, and I'll share all that information out. But like, we will be hosting sessions specifically for school leaders. Jacqueline, will it create the same document in other languages? Yeah, absolutely. So again, check this out. So different ways to do that. So if I'm still in Gemini, I can say now include a Spanish version at the bottom. So I can, include that. And now at the bottom of this, you have your Spanish immediately. Now, again, double check, make sure you run this by a Spanish speaker and that it's all in there. And you can have different versions. There's another way to translate it also. And I'm sure you all are familiar with this. I'm going back to my Google Doc. Hold on one second. Okay. Under tools, I believe there's a way to update this into a different language, spelling and grammar. There's a way to export this. Yeah, translate document. And then you can choose a different language, all right? So that's one way to do it, or you can do it in AI. And then you would copy and paste this. And like under the create button, like this is interesting too. You can create a web page, an infographic, a quiz with this. So feel free to test out what that looks like. That's all pretty incredible. All right. Any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. So that's Canvas, right? So Canvas changes what your screen looks like. You have your artifact on the right and then your chat on the left. Deep research is incredible. Deep research is where you put in a question. Now, it could be anything. It could be research, the benefits of using, this type of soil from another soil in this, plant experiment, research the rise in sea level with this place, research whatever. An example I like to do is say, I am a school leader who needs to create a cell phone ban policy that is bell to bell, period. I am a middle school in Brooklyn, period. I want you to research existing successful phone ban plans that exist not only in New York, but nationally as well as globally. Okay, so you can send that out. Middle school in Brooklyn. All right, so then you would hit send. AI is going to look at your research question. And yes, Alexandra, I will get to the slides. I'll definitely get to the slides. I'll do that next because I know time is of the essence here, and I know it's a really great option. So it gives me its research plan, right? It's going to research existing bell-to-bell policies. So if I hit start research, AI is going to go out into the internet and create this very detailed report. Okay, since it's so detailed, since it's going to explore like 100 different websites to get this information, it's going to take some time. It's going to take like, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, which is not that long. I have a research, so it's doing it already. It's telling you, it's already searching these websites here. Again, this is an incredibly powerful tool for research. If I go into my previous chats, this is a previous research question that I sent, asking deep research to create an AI policy for my school. And so here's the plan. And so it created this like very detailed document, okay, where it's giving me the history of the AI initiatives in New York City, and then it's going to delve into how AI is being rolled out nationally as well as in other states, and it's going to give me suggestions on how I can take those things and apply it to my school. This would take days, if not weeks, if you were to do it manually. I'm going to scroll down here. These are the different websites that deep research used to create this. It's like a 30-page report. It went through like 100 different websites, if not more. And again, what I appreciate about this, so I just scrolled to a random portion of this report. These little arrows, these are citations of where it got this information from. So deep research is an incredibly powerful tool. Okay. Yes, Ms. Scott, yes. So since these AI tools are IRMA approved, you can take a page or a portion of your HMH curriculum, upload it into this tool, right? You can upload files from your computer, upload from your school Google Drive, and then you can ask Gemini to further tailor that, tailor a lesson plan that's aligned with that curriculum that you uploaded, or make it more culturally responsive, or what have you. Again, since this is yeah, it really is amazing. It's amazing. Yes. And so keep in mind fair use, right? Like, I'm not asking you to upload the entire, 100-page booklet of HMH into here, but yeah, you could take pages from this. You can take what you're focusing on, upload some pages, and then go from there and really get this tailored, have it output something tailored for your students. I know a lot of people are asking about presentations. Let me go back to this. All right, so yes, this can create. If I say, help me create a slide presentation for my third graders about the life cycle of the butterfly. All right, so I can ask it here, and if I give it to Gemini, it's not going to create like the actual presentation in Gemini. It's going to give me an outline that I can then, slide 1, slide 2. I can include this so you can copy and paste. If you have a really great template in slides, you can just put this in there. However, if I'm going to open up a new tab, and I'm going to go to our good friend Google Classroom, who just turned 10 years old. Can you believe it? In Google Classroom, and again, every teacher every staff member has access to this. There's now a Gemini feature in Classroom. If you click on Gemini, and if you are a fan of Magic School, this is taking a page out of their design language. Now, under the Gemini tab in Classroom, you can outline a lesson plan, create a quiz, build a choice board, re-level text, create informational. You have all of these options. And check this out. There's a pilot study right now, a pilot program where you can generate a presentation. If I click on this, target grade, let's say 6th grade, topic, let's say Mesopotamia, presentation length, medium. All right, so if I click generate learning objectives, which is the first step, it's going to suggest learning objectives for this presentation. You can update this, you can add your own, you can remove it. I know time's running out. I'm just going to click next or generate presentation outline. Okay. Now it's going to generate the outline of the presentation. This is all in Google Classroom. This is all free. Okay. So this is the outline of the presentation. And I know people are asking about images. It's already suggesting images that I can choose to put in there or not use any of these and put my own. All right. So here's the outline. It's suggesting videos, right? In this case from Nat Geo. Where was Mesopotamia? And again, it has some text that it's suggesting. You as the educator, make sure it makes sense. It's suggesting this 17-page slide deck. Let's say I'm good with this. I'm going to hit generate presentation. I think this is what people are looking for. It's taking all those slides, it's taking all those all that information, and it created the actual presentation here. So this is the actual presentation it generated. So give it a second to load. This is not bad. Unlocking the secrets of the land between two rivers. Here's the outline. Personally, might be a little lengthy depending on how long your class is, but like you could modify this however you want. You could watch that video. All right. You can edit any of this. You just click on this slides button and now I can edit it. All right. This is the actual slide deck that I can go in and edit. Maybe I don't want to include this. Maybe I, want to add something else. So you're not starting from scratch. So this is pretty incredible. This is new. Came out like 2 months ago. So again, it came out 2 months ago for New York City Public Schools. So again, in Google Classroom, you should see a Gemini tab. Thank you. Feel free to share emojis. So again, this is a pilot program. If you don't see this, generate a presentation, it's going to be enabled soon. Let me know in the chat if you do or do not see generate a presentation in there, please. Because since it's a pilot, you need to your email address needs to be whitelisted. I took the registration from this PD, and I had Danita ask Central to whitelist everybody. So you should have access to this. Again, let me know if you see it in there or not. So Ms. Scott, see ideas of presentations. Okay, good, wonderful. Yes. Okay, wonderful. Hooray, hooray. Thank you, Danita. Thank you, folks at Central. So again, this is a pilot program. Everybody that signed up for this course, like you should be whitelisted and you should have this. Your colleagues might not have this, but I think this is rolling out in the fall. Okay, wonderful, Jacqueline. Thank you so much. Elvira, send me an email. And then we'll try to get you whitelisted. Or go to the parking lot document. That link is in the chat, and then you can add in there that you want access to the presentation feature in Google Classroom. Let's do that. All right. But this is great. Again, this came out like 2 months ago, if not sooner. So, and I think it's going to roll out for everybody. Yeah, by the fall, around that time. So very exciting stuff. 5 minutes left. I really want to show Notebook LM. Notebook LM, one of my favorite Google tools. This is also IRMA approved, also available for every staff member. What this does is you can create a notebook where you upload your own resources into it, And then the AI is only pulling and giving you answers from those resources. What do I mean by that? Governing AI. Okay, so I took that deep research report from Gemini, I exported it as a Google Doc, and then I put it into Notebook LM. All right, so this document, okay, I took this document on K12 AI policy. This was created from Gemini, from deep research, and then in Notebook LM, and that's notebooklm.google.com. You open up a new tab. I'll throw that in the chat in case people want to get to it. So this is amazing right here. So that's how you get to Notebook LM. Now, whatever I ask, it's only pulling from that document. So if I say, what is the main takeaway from this research report? Okay. So it's using AI, it's analyzing this like 30, 40 page report, and then it's giving me the answers here. So the main takeaway is that for a large and diverse system like the DOE, successful and equitable integration of AI requires proactive, comprehensive, and adaptive policy framework. And then what I love about this also, like you highlight these numbers and it tells you where in the document it's pulling this information from. All right, so if you want to get crazy, download Chancellor's regs and create a notebook on that. And now all the questions you ask are only coming from Chancellor's regs, that particular one, right? So Notebook LM, you could create a new notebook. You upload your resources from your Google Drive or a PDF on your computer, and then you can create it. What's continuing to just see like how crazy and amazing this is? How did I add the documents? So when you create a new notebook, you have this window and you choose your sources. They can be links to websites, paste text in there. And there's something here, discover sources. Like this will search resources for you. Okay. Ms. Scott, I don't think you can do that right now, but you could like do a combination of the both. You can upload a piece of literature to Gemini, create something, and then use that in your presentation that you make in classroom. In classroom, all right? Just real quick. So in Notebook LM, not only can you have an interactive conversation with the AI tools, with the AI researching specific documents in this notebook, but you can create a podcast or what's called an audio overview. What's that? All right, so if I click on this and folks.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a topic that's, well, it's moved incredibly fast from sci-fi to our daily reality.
Yeah, it really has.
And it's making some serious waves in education, especially K12 schools.
Can people hear that?
We're talking about artificial intelligence.
AI, yep.
And our mission for this deep dive is to explore how AI is both shaping and, being shaped by.
Those people don't exist. Those people are AI voices. Yes, creepy. Also, this is a 37-minute podcast that is summarizing this like very intensive document. So if you don't have time to sit down and read this, 50-page document on K12 AI policy, but you're going to spend the next 30 minutes on the train or sitting in traffic, you can listen to this podcast that was created on this. The voices at this point cannot be changed. However, you can change the language. You can go to settings, output language, and you can get this podcast in virtually any language: Spanish, French, Indonesian, Icelandic, all of these different languages here. All right. So think about that. Like that's insane. If you're an educator and you want to create, and like you have students that maybe process information better, auditory learners, you can take your lesson plan or resource or what have you, put it into Notebook LM, and then create this audio overview that they can listen to. Taking it a step further, this is crazy also. There's a video overview. This is brand new. This came out last week. In addition to making an audio overview, check this out. This made it like, it's like an interactive like slide presentation.
AI isn't some sci-fi concept anymore. Nope. It's here and it's flooding into our schools at an incredible speed. So today, we're going to look at what might be one of the biggest educational experiments happening right now. a massive, high-stakes gamble by the biggest school district in the whole country.
90%. Just let that number sink in. By 2024, that was the projection for how many school devices would have AI features.
Yeah.
Reverse course. The ban is lifted by October.
This is incredible. It's talking about the history of the AI landscape in New York City. So it used AI, it scoured the internet, created this report. You can listen to it. Now you can take this interactive video, watch it yourself, share it with your class. It's crazy. Yeah, Alexandra, sorry. This is all in Notebook LM. This is all in Notebook LM, right? So if you're in your Google account, again, these dots up here, you can go to Gemini, or you can go to Notebook LM, or if you wanted to, you can type in notebooklm.google.com. All right, notebooklm.google.com. That you would put that in the URL in the address bar in your DOE account. I can't emphasize this enough. In your DOE account. All right, but we're all in Notebook LM. So this is all incredible. How can you share the audio or video with students? So I put it in the chat. You could so this is the audio here. There's 3 dots. You can download or share the audio. I think this is new. I'm not sure if you have student names in here. You would need to test it out, but you can definitely share this with your colleagues, possibly share it with student groups. In addition, you can download the audio and then put it in your Google Classroom. I might do that instead. And then the same thing with the video. Download the video and share the video through Google Classroom. Maybe you have a YouTube channel or what have you. Again, there are other AI tools out there. Gemini is wonderful because it's safe. It went through that IRMA approval process and it's already synced with your DOE Google account, right? All of this stuff is in there. I don't want to keep anyone longer like maybe longer than you signed up for. I'm going to stay on a little bit longer if you have questions, but just real quick, everyone. First of all, thank you for joining. Can you please take a minute and share some feedback? I'll also put the link in the chat because this helps us understand like what people are interested in and how to tailor our future sessions. I'm putting this in the chat right now. Feedback form. All right, so please take a minute. Please take a minute to answer. Please take a minute to answer this feedback form. I just put it in the chat. This is being recorded. I'm going to share it with everybody. I'll send you an email. I'm going to do my best to send it tomorrow. It's going to have all of the resources that we talked about. But folks, like if there's one thing to take away from this, definitely it's not bad to use AI. Just don't do it in a lazy way, right? Like, yeah, you can have it respond with a lesson plan, but don't just take the first thing in there. Read through the responses, make sure that it makes sense, and have the conversation with the AI, and also do it in a platform that is safe, right? At this point, Google Gemini has all these features and is safe. And this is a brand new world for education. Hopefully this will help save some time, make your resources better and more engaging. Really exciting stuff. As you are answering that feedback, I'm going to show you one last thing here. One last thing. Where are you? Not here. Okay, I'm going to show you one last thing. You have something called Google Vids. What is Vids? And so to get to this, again, it's all part of your DOE account. You can find it in the waffle. You can go to vids.google.com. Right there, vids.google.com in the address bar. But now you have a tool to create videos in Google for free. So this is a templated video that you can use, right? If I hit play, music, text, animated text, what have you, okay? Everything you see, you can edit. Okay, so if you wanted to use videos and make videos, you can do it in Google Vids. And so, like, yeah, if this shot of Acapulco is not reflective of your school, You can click on it, click replace video. You know, you have a library of stock images that you can put in here, you know, school, and maybe use this instead. So that's it. Google Vids. I'll put it in the chat. Vids.google.com. All brand new. Eileen, can you tell me more about the video that you're asking about? Feel free to put in the chat or something, or unmute. And I'll wait for that question. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. I'll stay on for a few minutes longer if you have any questions. This is great. This is a lot of information because, you know, there's a lot going on here. Again, I'm trying to get to the thank you slide here. Share. All right. I'm Santi. Danita's here to help also. I'm going to put my email in the chat. santi@projectrecess.org. Again, we're a PD provider. If you would like to partner with us, send me some. Okay, if you need CTLE credits, thank you for that reminder. If you need CTLE credits, I'm going to put the link in the chat also. Again, I'm going to email everybody. If you need CTLE, I just put the link in the chat. 1 hour of CTLE. All right, the title of this is a lengthy one. I'll put it up also. This is the title. It's a virtual. Fill out that Google form that I just put into the chat if you would like a CTLE credit. 1 hour, no charge. Yeah, Peter, it's Gen AI. There's so much it can do, but really, like there's so much. If I want you to reframe that, there's so much more we as educators, we as human beings can do now, leveraging these tools, right? Like if you have an idea, this can really jumpstart it like 10x. It's incredible. So yeah, how much more we can do using AI. I'm just going through the comments.
I have a question.
Please.
The name of the session, is it Formative Certified Educators?
No, it's Get Started with Google AI in K12. If you wrote Google AI, that's fine. That's fine.
Well, this
Alexander,
okay, Get Started.
Alexandra, absolutely, of course. I mean, that can be said about anything, but yeah, there are definitely people that are apprehensive in using these tools, like, and understandably. What Alexandra, may I ask, what is the main reason why people are apprehensive in using these tools? Environment, that's a fair concern. That is a fair concern. There are some, it takes a lot of water to cool these systems, these data centers. Absolutely, yeah. I personally am trying to figure out like the best ways to address that and think about that in my own usage of it. So yeah, that's a very real concern, Alexandra. So weighing out the pros and cons, like what are the benefits, you know, there are ways to limit it, don't have, I guess like frivolous conversations with it, know exactly what you want from it. So you're not, you're not using a lot of processing power, but no, that's a very real concern. Any other questions?
Yes, I have a question. Would it be possible to receive maybe like a PDF on the steps for the things that you showed us for Gemini? Because it's so much to digest. And even though we get the recordings, it's like so overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I definitely, can you add that to the parking lot? And then,
yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much. But yeah, that makes sense. Like just like a quick, like I'm envisioning like a 1-pager on like how to get started with it.
Exactly. Yeah. Just like little things on how to get to different places, because I feel like I couldn't keep up almost. So, but I really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that feedback. Okay. Yes, please add that to the parking lot, and then we'll create something. I absolutely see the value in that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Steven, next step training. There's going to be so many PDs on this, like Project Reassess, our company's leading them. If you wanted to attend this same session next week, same time, that's our last of the series. We go over the same content, but like the questions are different. So we end up going over different things. So if you were free next week, same time, Wednesday, 10 a.m. Like, you register on the EdTech portal, and then we'll do this again. But then there will be more sessions coming up. Trust me. And yes, focused on educators, focused on school leaders. We're planning a lot of sessions because this is such a big change in how we do work here. All right. Thank you. Thanks for joining, everyone. I'm gonna end the recording, but I'll still be here. I'm just gonna end the recording right now.
I have a quick question. It's Taniqua Scott.